am a fifth generation Texan, but I went to first through fifth grade in a very small rural town in northern Arizona.
Wow.
And so while I was there in the fifth grade, I was unfortunately put into foster care. So I had to move in with a foster mom, but she was amazing. I was the only kid in the house, and she had cats, and I'm Mexican, and so no animals are allowed in our house. And so it was so cool. I was like so excited to like have. But most importantly, she was a retired school teacher.
Oh.
And so, you know, on the weekends and after school, I would have this one-on-one time of like just, you know, going over things or preparing. And that was, that time was something that I'd never had before, right? There was no one in my family who was sitting me down and going through things. So that was super important and super awesome. And I think that that helped me to gain confidence in my schoolwork, in my intellect, in my, you know, studies. So that was awesome. Eventually, I moved here after that year. I lived with my Aunt Paula, and I moved here when I was 11. So it was, excuse me. So it was the day after my fifth grade ended. They put me on a plane the very next day to move here with my aunt.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so I went to Pierce Middle School. It's not there anymore. But at one point, that was called the worst school in Texas.
Wow.
And you can imagine me, this little girl from this tiny little town, and I had went to the same school with my same people since the first grade, and you know. But I loved it. I felt so adult, you know, with like my lockers and like going from each class and not just being in one class all day. And I loved it. And I was on pep squad, and we did theater and
so
you know
fun.
all of these things. But you know, our school was a Title I, which meant that it didn't have enough money to give the students basically what y'all have, right? And so that's tough. And so then Miss Goka in the sixth grade came to my school, and she said, we're gonna do yoga, and we're gonna get you ready for college, and we're gonna do all of this fun stuff, and you're gonna learn so much. And I was like, oh my, this is amazing. Like absolutely, I have to do. I mean, I didn't know what yoga was, but it sounded cool. Honestly, I didn't know what college was. But if it was good enough for my teachers, I was like, oh, okay, it's good enough for me. If my teachers went, I want to go. Yeah, it was a whirlwind, and it was a crazy ride, and it was all of the things that Miss Goka had promised, and then like a little bit more.
When you got to high school, which pathway did you choose?
Media tech.
Yeah.
Much to Mr. Soden's dismay. I always knew that I wanted to be in government and politics in the Capitol. I was planning to go to law school and then eventually make my way in. But I started in the Capitol when I was a senior in college, and I just never left. Like, the Capitol is one of those places that's like once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
And it's hard to leave. It's hard to do anything else. But in high school, I mean, I'm not a math person. So Media Tech was really like the only one that I was like, okay, this feels like something I can actually do. And Mr. Soden was amazing. I mean, y'all know.
Yeah, he's great.
There were things that he taught us that I do to this day. Like, you know, how to set up the frame or like the lights or like, you know, and so I definitely,
that's awesome.
I still appreciate him, and you know, I'm so happy that he's going to be doing my campaign video.
So as you know, it's a big part of our mission statement for like to attend and graduate college. Can you talk a little bit about like that transition from high school and into college and the support you got?
We did a lot of college visits. We did a lot of college visits. So I got to school and I kind of knew, you know, like what I was getting into, like the process of it all. But what I found the most difficult was that I didn't know how to make friends. Because I'd been with the same girls since we were 11, 12. And now I'm like in this whole new place. And I went to a small school at Southwestern in Georgetown. So it's not a giant school, but I mean, it was giant to me because we had 52 girls in our graduating class. So you can imagine I got to college and I was like, but I mean, you know, I've always been very loud and outgoing. I was also on student council. And I was choir president for a time, and I did a debate thing outside of school.
Cool.
So I was very, but it was still like very strange, you know.
Big adjustment.
My freshman year of college, I had a very a unique roommate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I didn't last until I think I was there until Thanksgiving, and then I left. And I was like, I can't live here. I can't do this. So.
Did you leave?
No. I just moved off campus.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have clarified that.
No, you're good.
I just moved off campus, and I was off campus for the rest of my time there, which I really regret because I lost out on so much socializing and like meeting people. I was an independent student. My parents died when I was a teenager, actually, while I was at school, and so. I had to like work and make money to put myself through school, especially now that I'm living off campus and like all of these things. And so I worked a lot, and then I went to school, and then I went back to work. And so it was just like I didn't have a lot of time either way. But I wish that I had like stayed on campus and had that experience, because I don't know if everything would be different now, but I think some things would be different now. But
how did like Ann Richards like prepare you for college and prepare you for like where you are now? Like
it's hard to say concretely because I feel like there are a lot of hard wiring that Ann Richards did that I probably don't even recognize is from like my teachers in school and stuff.
Yeah, we definitely relate to that.
Sisterhood is huge. As an adult, as a woman who's an adult, that is so hard to come by now. Women have largely for a long time have been pitted against each other. And that was hard when I went to college, but mostly when I was in the Capitol, when I was a professional in the workforce. I had no idea. I just thought like every girl loved every girl.
Yes, again, something that was so ingrained here is just like appreciating the people you're around and like lifting them up.
Exactly.
And it was a very tough, emotional lesson that not every girl is your friend. And that is so hard to reconcile with. And especially in politics where it's like a male-driven field.
For sure.
I think we feel like we need to compete against each other, but I have never competed. Like even in school, we were competitive. I want us all to do well.
As an alumni, why do you think it's important to like stay connected and to the school, and why do you like what motivates you to stay connected?
That's a good question. For a long time, I was not connected. I think it's normal though that like you leave and you live your life and you learn how important this is. And then you're like, oh shit, I didn't even really realize. Prepare me. I was a first generation college attendee and graduate. My aunt didn't know, what a PSAT was or what AP classes were or like any of these things. And so that definitely helped. I knew what I was stepping into, right? I had seen it. And a lot of people who come from my neighborhood don't see it, and they're either thrown into it or they don't get the opportunity. So that was a huge help. Well, now I realize how special it is. I mean, I did realize it in the past, but you have to grow up. You have to like do your own thing. And now I just know how special it is, and I'm so happy that y'all have this big, beautiful building, and that y'all are still going, and y'all are like, I see so much of myself in you.
Aww.
Like, and everyone, like walking down the hall, I'm like, this is exactly what it was like 10, 11 years ago.
What advice do you have for Ann Richards students overall?
I would say try everything.
Okay.
Like even something you're like, oh, I don't know if I would be good at that. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be good at everything. That's another side. You do not have to be good at everything. I let's see, what are my I love to play tennis. I played in middle school, and I suck. But I'm like, that's not my job. That's not like me. But like I can have fun and do something. I think that was like a huge thing. Is like I felt that I had to be good at everything, and I had to ace every test, which I didn't. And I had to, win every competition. And when I wasn't a winner, I was like, well, what's the point? I was like never having fun. But now I've like really had to learn how to have fun and like how to relax.
And
I'm a Capricorn, so but so I would say try everything, even if you don't think you'll be good at it. I mean, I think learning how to not be good at stuff is super important. Learning how to fail is super important, because when you win, that's it. You move on, right? But when you fail,
you learn.
You really have to learn. Like it's okay. Like this isn't who I am. Like all of these things. And so that was really important to me, because being in school and I was so I was depressed and I just wasn't doing well, and I was like, wow, like this really isn't me. I'm failing these classes. Like this really isn't me. And so then when I took my time off, and I was just like, it's just all about being gentle with yourself. That is the biggest thing. And even now as a 29-year-old, I mean, I still have to be like, okay, hey, it's okay. Like, you're fine, because I think in school, we all just wanted to do so well all the time at everything.
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
So it was okay to be like, okay, take a breath. Like, this isn't the end of the world. Even though it feels like it, it's not the end of the world. You are on your own journey. And even though a lot of people have come in front of you and will come behind you, it doesn't matter. You're always going to be on your own journey. I never thought, I thought by now I would be like an immigration lawyer somewhere. Well, like married with 3 kids. And I'm here and I'm running for office and, you know, single with 2 cats. So it's just like always trust your gut. Always take opportunities that you are excited about, even if you don't know how it's gonna quite fit in yet. So I would say try everything and be gentle with yourself. Be okay with failing.